What's going on, guys? World's Strongest here. Checking my mail. I get some mail. I open it up. It's very nondescript. Let me show you. What class? Thank you. Sometimes a pat on the back is all you need.
Welcome, Figure 4 TVers. Now today we're going to talk about Mark Henry, and we're going to talk about how WWE is doing more to honor and show respect to their legends, something AEW need to take note on. So check out the intro, guys, and when we come back, we'll talk about this. WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry recently shared a gesture from WWE that highlights a shift in the company's approach to former talent. On his social media account, Henry revealed a card he received from the company which read, "To the legends that paved the way, Happy New Year's from your family at WWE." This seemingly simple act holds significance for those familiar with WWE internal dynamics. Such gestures were uncommon during the previous management reign. Now, under the leadership of Triple H, there's a renewed focus on acknowledging and appreciating the contributions of former contracted talent. This change in approach aligns with other recent inactivities within WWE. Earlier this year, Cody Rhodes disclosed that WWE sent out communications to current talent ahead of SummerSlam, providing information about the attending legends. According to Rhodes, the texts include a bio, a headshot, and talent were encouraged to go up to the legends and give them the respect they deserve. These efforts are indicative of broader changes within the company. They represent a conscious effort to foster a more positive and respectful environment and are seen as contributing to the improved overall moral amongst the crew at events. You know what's crazy? This shouldn't be rocket science. This is just a part of what's best for business. You take care of the people that took care of you. You don't lose nothing. You know what I mean? You never lose nothing. And I never understood companies and businesses that don't treat their employers great. Like, you want to treat your employers great. Without the workers, you don't make the money. So why not treat the workers great? The companies that treat the workers great get the most output. They get the most turnout from that worker. If you ever notice, the companies that treat their workers bad, the workers run around the company and trying to do the least. The workers ain't giving their all for that company because the company don't treat them nice. When the company treat them nice, they give their all. You ever seen a person take their job too serious? That because they normally have a good job. That company really good to them. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing new underneath the sky. And that expression means the people that came before us, they set the groundwork. All we gotta do is add on to it. We don't gotta start nothing from scratch because 9 times out of 10, the forefathers, they already started it. Now we could take what they did and we can build on it. And that's how it's supposed to be. So WWE is just doing a great thing. And when you make the old timers feel good, they promote and they spread the word for your new business. They bring in new business. When you treat the old timers great, they bring in the new business in. And the only problem I see with people having with this coming from Mark Henry is that when Mark Henry left WWE, he left on a bad note. He did not leave on a good note. And like all of the older veterans who get stuck in their ways and want to keep the torch, want to hold on to the torch forever, like most of them, they always feel a little salty when it's time to part ways with WWE. So the stuff he said about WWE don't necessarily mean it was wrong. He said it, And when he got to AEW, and then he seen things that was wrong there, he called it out. So it could just be that Mark Henry just the type of person that call out wrongness. Not just because you treat me nice after you did me wrong, don't mean that I got to retract my comments that I made. And that's the problem a lot of people gonna have with Mark Henry, because he come off hypocritical.
My deal was up, and this is not something that was, recent. Like I go back to 5 months, 6 months. I want a position in office, and I want everything that comes with it. And I talked to Vince himself, and he said, write it up. He was like, you're somebody that I'll hear from, I'll listen to. And I was told that there was a lot of cleaning house, and there was a lot of cuts that were happening, and there was a lot to come. And I've seen hundreds of people in the company go. And I still felt like, well, I mean, knowing this, I feel valuable enough that I'm not going anywhere. Well, that's cool. But when your deal comes up and the rights, the legalities part of it comes up to where you're going to go next and what you're going to do, I felt like I wanted to do more. I'm a busybody. If I'm not doing what I know I can do, and especially if I think I could do it better than somebody else, and I can't get that opportunity, then I have to start looking for that opportunity somewhere else. It wasn't negative. Everybody knows me and Vince got love for each other, and more than love, respect. And me calling him and saying what needed to be said came from a place of a brother telling his older brother, man, I'm tired of being in the shadows. Like, I feel like somebody beneath you is holding me back. And if somebody's holding me back, I got to go. Because you could tell everybody what to do, but there might be something that comes with that. But I feel like I'm being held back. I'm not getting, what I want. And I want us to be successful. I want to be able to earn more. I want to be able to get those pelts on the wall. And man, it was just like the coolest thing. It's like, man, you know everything you need to know. You go, and if you feel like you have to go, don't necessarily want it, but if you feel like you need to go, then go. I know you're going to be successful. And that's what you would want. Like I'm not going to run from the conversation like that. There's a lot of people that are kind of scary and unloyal or whatever. Nobody will never say Mark Henry is unloyal. I've been loyal. I mean, there were times where I was offered more money and I didn't leave. 25 years with the same company. Through the good, through the bad, I was there. And everything wasn't perfect. What family has a perfect existence? Not very many. And but mine was really good. I had a really good experience. I learned a lot. I spent more time in the production office and in the trucks than I did around the ring and in catering. I always joke about being in catering and all of that, but man, I always had an executive mindset.
That right there is the problem, because a lot of people, right, we sign these deals, and these deals we sign is say one thing, but we be in these deals, and then we get comfortable with the deal, and then we get entitled to the deal, and then we start wanting to do other stuff. But that's not what we signed our deal for. You see, when you start wanting to be executive and things like that, once you start wanting to be like that, when you want to go from the worker to the boss, that's when you know it's time for you to start your own stuff. It's time for you to start your own stuff. And especially as a black man that race agitate, because that's one of my biggest issues with Mark Henry. He liked to paint black men as victims, and he liked this participation award stuff. But when you get the executive mind, so that's when it's time for you to own your own stuff. See how that works? You don't got to get mad at your old employer. No, you go own your own stuff. You go hire you some employees, and you do what it do.
What a surprise. You have signed to All Elite Wrestling. How did this all come together? Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I talked to Vince probably about 6 months ago. And I said, man, I really, really want to do more. A Legends deal is not enough. You know, like for the usage of my name, I was doing a loan out agreement for them to use and license my name. And it was coming up. And I didn't want to resign unless I was going to be working there as an employee, one, for all of the benefits, but also I knew wrestling and I know wrestling in a way that a lot of people don't, because of the trainers that I've had and the coaches, the time span. I mean, I've been wrestling for 25 years and I had the best people the whole time. I didn't come up on the indie scene, which is no disrespect to the indie scene, because I scout and watch the indie scenes more than I do mainstream wrestling.
Yeah.
But we had that conversation and he said, well, you know, write it up. What do you want to do? And I was like, man, I want to do educational programming. Like, I want to do community involvement. I want to be on the writing staff. I want to, you know, be an agent. He was like, whoa, what? He said, that's like 5 jobs. I said, but I've been doing all of this already.
Yeah.
For free. Like, nobody paid me. I did it at least the last 12 years. And I feel like that I had to brag on myself for the first time in my career. And I never did that before. I never said, man, like, I had to lie to get Daniel Bryan here. I brought in Braun Strowman. Oops.
Well, we'll unpack that for sure. Wait, what is the situation with Bryan? Roll that back.
I saw Daniel Bryan at an indie show in Canada, and I was in Montreal, and I was like, damn, that dude's good. And, you know, I could tell that he was carrying the guy that he was working with. He made his ass look good.
Was it Sami Zayn? Like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy was, but Daniel was carrying him. Mm-hmm. And they said Bryan Danielson. So then I went back and I found him on social media and I reached out to him and I said, hey man, I saw your match against so-and-so, Charlie. And he was like, oh man, thanks. It wasn't one of my best ones. And I was like, it was pretty good to me. I was like, I want you to come to a camp. And he was like, yeah, for who? Because I didn't introduce myself. And I said, I want you to come to a camp down in Tampa. And he's like, oh, for WWE? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, man, I'm Mark Henry. He said, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I am. And I got his information and I passed it on to Johnny Ace. And Johnny, how big is he? And I was like, oh, he like 6 feet, 6'1", about 200 pounds.
Big guy. Big guy.
I just lied through my teeth because I knew that they wanted bigger guys. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, we'll bring him in. And once I transferred the information, boom, they started doing all of the scouting. I never touched him again. I never said nothing until he ended up in FCW. And here we are, you know, Hall of Fame guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I brought in Rich Swann and Uha or Apollo Crews. And I just started, like, it was a bunch of guys. I was mentoring Baron Corbin. I saw Braun Strowman at a strongman show, and I was like, man, your personality is wrestling. You got to quit doing strongman. He was like, I want to be champion.
Be a champ somewhere else.
The most money I ever made lifting was under $100,000 in a year, and I was the best in the world, bro. I was like, you need to come over to wrestling, and it took him 2.5 years, but he finally called me back and said, hey man, you think you can still get me into wrestling? I said, hell yeah. I was like, I called Vince. I said, hey, remember that monster I was telling you about? And he was like, yeah. He was like, he ready. Send him on. And I just been doing that. I don't work in talent relation.
It sounds to me like when you hung up your boots, Mark Henry, you should have went straight into being a talent researcher, talent scout, or you should have been in the talent department, because you damn sure did scoop a lot of great talent for WWE. I didn't even know Daniel Bryan or Braun Strowman, but I knew you responsible for Samantha Irvin, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill. So, you know what I mean? Mark Henry, that's where your talent is. You don't need the attention to be in the ring wrestling anymore. You need to just be in the backstage there helping out with the talent, bringing talent in, because you got an eye for talent. But guys, y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all think Mark Henry is a hypocrite? How y'all feel about Mark Henry? Some of y'all even say he a racist. Let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about Mark Henry, and how y'all feel about the new era, Triple H era. Because that's another thing. Mark Henry, it sounded like he had a problem with Vince. He didn't give Triple H a chance. He's a Vince guy. You know what I mean? So he had a problem with Vince. His problem is with Vince, and we know Vince is no longer in charge. So I guess Vince wasn't giving out Christmas cards and holiday cards. It sucks. But Triple H is on to the right thing. Triple H is doing the right thing, yo. Salute to Triple H for that. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later.